Yay, welcome back to another episode of Amplified Impact. I am, oh my goodness, so excited for this one. Today I have Dr. Rachel Bush, who is coming to Here for More Live. She's sharing her gifts and her magic with the world as a clinical psychologist, award-winning author, artist, spreading positivity and mental wellness through art and words. She's also guiding women through the menopause journey, which hormones are wild and crazy, whether we're just starting our cycle, whether we get pregnant, we're at postpartum, or we're at the phase where that chapter is ending. And I wanted to bring on Rachel because she's someone that's coming to Here for More Live. She's coming to the Masterpiece Retreat. And honestly, I'm just obsessed with her online content. I'm like, come be on the podcast. Let's interview you. And yeah, bring the work that you do to my audience, my community. I know that you also host retreats, you write books, you're multi-passionate. Like the definition of this podcast and this movement is like, we're creators in the world, and that's what you do is you create. So introduce yourself, tell us what you're doing, what you're so excited about now, and a little background on we could
Well,
be here all
fir-
day. How did you
first
get
of
here?
all, how I got here was you were dancing with your beautiful pregnant belly with your daughter, and you were dancing with your finger saying, "Come here, come join us." And I thought to myself, I have to meet this woman. I'm going to Costa Rica. I need I need to meet her. And the last time I was around a pregnant woman like this close, was my surgeon at Dana-Farber 3 years ago when I was diagnosed with cancer. And I had endometrial cancer, and I had a hysterectomy 3 years ago. And so after that was done, I got in my head, I have three boys and a history much like yours of multiple miscarriages and needing surgery and thinking I'm never going to have a baby and this is like the most important dream of my life. But after the surgery, I thought, okay, now my life is all about giving back and legacy and making like a big impact. And I've always had a clinical practice that I've loved. I've loved working one-on-one. It's been fabulous. I've had incredible patients. They've been amazing, but I wanted to splash, So all of a sudden, I had 3 international best-selling books, and then I added six more. So in the past 3 years, I've written 9 books, and I'm CEO of Luminosity Publishing. And my husband and I have been running couples retreats because we feel like we've both been married before, and we know what a bad marriage looks like and what a good marriage looks like. And we feel like we have the magic. So we feel like we have an obligation to share the magic. And like it's so easy with a whole bunch of skills and tools. So we have a podcast called Relationship Revival, and we love that. We love hanging out together, but my real connection is to women, and I feel like I've kind of been forced to play in a man's world in a certain kind of way. Like I think Meryl Streep said it the best when she said, women have been forced to speak male, and I'm tired of that. Like, I feel like I really want to be around my soul sisters speaking female, like my my late brother went to college with me, and he was amazing. But I learned how to throw a football and how to play basketball and, how to be an athlete. And I've raised three sons. My oldest is in med school. And I just feel like I want to be around women. I want to help women go through life's transitions. And I have this fantasy that in my womb at one point I was holding a girl, and that somehow, I'm still carrying some of that feminine energy, and that it's supposed to be passed, that that's part of my legacy in some way. And so, like, even though I've raised these boys, I feel like part of what my job still is about female life transitions. And I know that women have a lot of trouble with self love and self worth. And I've treated a lot of women with eating disorders. And it's really hard for women to feel comfortable in their bodies. The first time I really felt comfortable in my body was when I was pregnant with my oldest son. And I was, my husband at the time called my uterus. We decided to name him Max. So he called it Maxwell House. After the coffee. But I want women to feel good about their bodies and happy in their bodies and in love with themselves, and grateful and alive and filled with vitality and awake. I feel like it's time for everyone to wake up in some way and to give themselves the love that they deserve to have, and to give that love to their sisters and to the other significant people in their lives. And I feel like I've missed out on that sisterhood piece because of being around all of these men. And so now I feel like, here I am. I'm going to be 63 years old on New Year's Day. Like I'm almost a senior citizen. I'm 500-hour yoga instructor, and I took a course in trauma-informed yoga, which was great. And I used to take the train into Manhattan and teach trauma-informed yoga at women's shelters for women who had experienced domestic abuse. And I know what that's like to have trauma stored in your body and to have it released through yoga, and how healing that is. And I feel like, it's an incredible movement for everyone. It's just an incredible gift, and that you're sharing that gift all of the time. Like, I think you're just like the most inspiring, incredible young woman, like you're probably half my age.
I'm so in love with just like how like the evolution of your story and like your devotion to being a student and like your achievements in writing how many books, but like everything that you're doing now is because of your struggle with it at one point and your breakthrough of it to the other side. Like, the masculine world that we've been driven in of like, what is success? How am I supposed to be? Learn to do it this way. The masculine way has shaped us. But then also like eating disorders, like any woman listening, like I think everyone, because it's like what society has told us. And when I often work with my one-on-one clients, it's like, this is what I was told to do. This is the strategy. And that's bro marketing. That's the bro way of doing business. But then,
Totally.
like, so many people swing to the other side, like, the feminine inclines are going to fall from the sky. And it's like, we need both energies. And, like, you sharing, like, a 500-hour yoga student, but also, like, you're a clinical psychologist and, like, all of these different multi passions, but coming from, like, your own experience of, like, what it was like coming up into a man's world and like our struggles with sisterhood. And like, I feel like the healing that I've had to do with sisterhood and the community of sisterhood that I've created here in real life in Costa Rica, wanting to bring that into in person experiences, but also online experiences of like, we all have similar struggles, and like the things that we struggle the most with and the things that we're doing right now in the wave. You've signed up for so many of my courses and so many of my experiences, and then you're coming to hear from more live, and you're also going to the retreat, and you're also in the wave, and you're also in the membership. And it's like, because you get being a devoted student, but you also don't just sign up. It's like you're participating every day in the membership. You're celebrating every single day, like the collective sisterhood. And I think that like we do this together. And something
Yeah.
that you spoke of was like, the reason that I'm here is because of a reel that you did. And it's like, we never know what we created or what we did that bring people into us. But if we can just be ourselves, show up authentically and do what we're passionate about. Like, I loved how you said, like, I'm doing this because like, this is what I experienced. But like, if anyone's watching this, like when we air it onto the YouTube, it's like, you are glowing. Your aura is so big. Your joy is so bright. And like, I also have a lot of clients right now where several clients, their mission is to help women love retirement, to love aging. How can we love menopause? How can we love getting older? Meet my clients like Rachel, it's like getting older is actually a gift. It's making us wiser. But if we can come together and like have women that are just now going through starting their period, have women that are going into motherhood, have women that are going into menopause, and we all get in the same room. Like, I'm thinking about here for more live of like the red tent, like let's get into the red tent and take care of each other and nurture each other. But also while we do that, like let's grow a business where we all get to have impact, sharing our gifts with the world, make insane money. And then like, where's our money going to go? Like, who are we going to support? How are we going to fund organizations that are studying menopause? Like, what do they tell women, like at when they're gaining weight? What do they tell women when they're going through menopause? What do they tell women? Like, we're told all of these things. Why don't us women come together and start talking about like, what does it actually really feel like? Like yesterday I went to a sisterhood circle in my community, and four of us all have kids and three of us are all pregnant, and we're
Mm.
talking about how we feel being pregnant in our first trimester, and like, what's that doing to our love life? What's that doing to our hormones? What's that doing to our emotions? But these things aren't actually talked about enough, and I think for you,
No.
like something that I really want you to like bring to the conversation, because I know you're working on it now, is like, what is the journey into menopause, and like how does someone begin to embrace their femininity even when they're losing that part of the feminine journey?
Well, I think first of all, there's been this shame associated with menopause,
Mm.
and I think every time that there's shame for women, there's silence. And so nothing's talked about. And doctors don't talk about it enough. So women are not even prepared medically for average age of menopause is 50. Like, that's a useful piece of information to have. I wish someone had told me that, you know. And perimenopause would have been really helpful, simple things like, hey, dress in layers. It's a really great thing. You can take things off if you're hot. You can put things on if you're cold. It'll really enhance the quality of your life significantly. You know, your mood, your hormones are going to be, estrogen and progesterone during perimenopause are going to be fluctuating all over the place. So, as a result, much like being pregnant, you know, you're on a ride, like you're on an interesting roller coaster that isn't quite the regular Amber, but it's a roller coaster ride. And like, you're on the ride. So, like, tune in and see what you're experiencing and, like, see what you can become more aware of and think about what about it are you grateful for? What about getting older? Are you feeling gratitude for? What do you know now that you didn't know before? I mean, there's so many incredible parts of this, like being able to walk out of the house and really not care what I look like at all. Like, it's not like being a young woman. It's like, oh, I didn't brush my hair. I'm not wearing any makeup. I'm just going to the store and they're going to have to accept me the way that I am. And that's kind of refreshing in a nice way, like, come as you are. Like, it's a great feeling to come as you are. I've been waiting for that for my whole life.
Yeah, and it's like freedom of expression, freedom to just be authentically yourself. And I think that's something that society and the world has like shamed us for. And like how like we hold ourselves back because of what other people say, what other people think, what the world says we should do, how the world says we should dress. And it's like, what if we could come into that fully expressed, fully embodied, fully authentically you sooner?
Mhm.
And I think that that's where the world is going now, is like more rebellion, more rule breakers, more like, tell me how I have to do it, I'm going to do it the other way. Like, that's the movement, that's the mission, because we've been put into these boxes and we've been put into these, like, this is the way it has to be, rules and lies and conditioning. And so I love that you say that you can just like walk out of the house, show up as you are, because you're literally, I just have to keep saying this, just a beaming ray of sunshine, of light. And it's like, but that doesn't matter how you dress or what color your hair is or how you use your pronouns in the world. It's like that radiant energy that we all hold as universal consciousness, which is something, that we're working on and in for here for more live. And the wave, it's like we go from the me, mine, and I to the like the universal, like we are all one. We are all
Yes.
connected, minus the body. But like, where the heck did we come from? I loved what you said about like holding a woman, a baby, a female within your womb. And like, this is why your mission now is like to heal the feminine and to help women like see the signs and be okay with premenopause and actually love premenopause and like look at the gifts that this brings you and the magic that that shares, because I'm sure there's so many things you wish you knew then when you were in that transition. And now on the other side, always in hindsight, we're full of wisdom. And that's the wisdom that we get to turn to wealth. Once we do so much of the inner child and the inner work and the fully coming embodied into who we are and our mission, it's like taking that, not just knowledge, now the wisdom lives in your body because you experienced it and you know, sharing that with the world. And I love that that's what you're doing now is like, I know. And now I have to share it. Like, I can't not share what I know. And I'm curious, like, of the books that you've written and the work that you've done, like, what has been the most powerful tool for you to embrace where you're at on the human feminine journey right now?
I think the whole idea of radical freedom and the whole idea of I'm here for a short time and big I have a big mission to accomplish, and that I have to move with feminine energy, not masculine energy. And my feminine energy is a going with the flow kind of feeling and doing what feels right at the right time, and not pushing against, not forcing something when it's not right. Like if I'm tired, I'll lie down and I'll take a nap and I'll write later, like I don't, I listen to my body now, if I'm hungry, I'll go eat something, and I'm no longer having these battles. Instead, I'm just kind of going with the natural flow, and all of a sudden, everything's so much easier. It's like, oh, I should have been doing this the whole time. But instead, it's like the masculine, if you're going to gain, you need pain and, struggle. And it's not true. It's just simply not true for us. It's a myth. And there's so many myths. That's what I'm finding.
Yeah, and I love what you say about being in the flow because before we got on this podcast interview, I was like, we're just going to go with the flow and see where a natural organic conversation takes rather than following a script or following the questions. You're like, I love to be in the flow, but I feel like there's this force in the fight in the flow. Like, I need to force this to happen. I need to make this happen. But also, too, it's like that's a conditioning that we've been given. And it's like what you shared right now is gold. What is my body telling me? Because I think
Mhm.
for so long, we are pushing down and ignoring the signs within our body. And something that I've just been living with recently, like, especially since getting pregnant this second round, I just feel like I'm so much more in tune with what my body's telling me. But I think that we ignore those signs because we're not told how to listen to the
Mhm.
body. We listen to the body when it's like, am I hungry? Do I need to poop? Do I have to pee? But like,
Mhm.
there's so many other signs of like, does this excite me? Does this activate me? Does this scare me? Does this make me nervous? And it's like, what does this mean? What's underneath of that? What am I here to learn about the signals of my body? And it's like, the more that we listen to those, the subtler the message is received. Because normally we're so busy doing that when we do get an opportunity to slow down, we're afraid of what we're
Mhm.
noticing and what
Mhm.
we're experiencing. And that's why in yoga, it's like, feel what's in the body. And someone's like, I cried and I don't even know why I'm crying. It's why dis-ease is a dis-ease within the body. And that's why when we ignore the signs for so long, it shows up as a disease, cancer, illness, something worse. But like your body was telling you this a long time ago. And so it's
Yes.
something that I've really been coming into is like, what is embodiment? What does it actually mean to like be aware of what my body is telling me and then to act upon it or to be within it? And how can we be within what our body is telling us and make empowered decisions regardless of what the world tells us or our mentor or our friends or external sources? Like, we all have the power right here within us. Should I do this or shouldn't I do that? Oh, this food made me feel this way. That food made, we're told this diet or this
Mhm.
exercise or this regimen, but like not everyone can intermittent fast. It can take our hormones completely out of whack. And yet, like they tell us intermittent fasting is the best way. And it's like one of the ways that I screwed up my hormones. Like weekly. And so I really love that you brought that wisdom here, the body.
Oh, and listening to ourselves and trusting ourselves. And we're all individuals. And
Mhm.
we all have to learn to really look in the mirror and to kind of become as self reflective as we can and to tune into that inner landscape, basically. And I think the more we're tuned into that inner landscape, the wiser we are and the smoother the external flow is. Like, when I saw you, it was like, okay, we're going to Costa Rica in December.
Yeah.
It was just like, hell yes, you know? And we know right away when someone says something or invites us or mentions something, like, when it's a hell yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm there. I want to be there,
And
and
with that hell yes that you felt for Costa Rica and saying yes, it's like you knew you paid, like I'm there. I'm curious for you, like, was there any limiting beliefs or doubts or questions? Or was it just like I felt it, I knew I moved? Because I know sometimes we feel it, we're about to move, and then the mind gets in the way. And then we slow ourselves down from actually, but I always like, is this a full body yes for you? Like, I believe in God given timeline. And I also think that we find ourselves waiting and holding back and saying next year, but that's what keeps us from being in the flow is the mind getting in the way and all of the logistics. But like the feminine is like, I know I should be there. I go. And that's really how I lived out this year is like, if it makes me richer, I'm in. And I mean, richer in connection, richer in experience, richer in embodiment, richer in all of the ways. And yeah, that richer has costed me a lot of money, but the
yeah,
investment in my becoming, I feel like I've
totally.
lived so many lifetimes this year because I followed the yes, even when I didn't know why I was saying yes. Then the lessons came afterwards.
Yes, absolutely. No, there was no hesitation. It just feels like this is the time to completely invest in myself. And I think the cancer kind of taught me that. Like, none of us know how long we're going to be here for. And so, like, the time is right now. And I think that a lot of us keep thinking like, oh, there's going to be plenty of time for that, or we'll do that down the road. And you know that's not the most productive way of thinking about it. Like, in the investment that you put in yourself is going to always be the most important investment ever. And I've seen this over and over again with my patients. I mean, one of the most gratifying things for me has been seeing my patients stop the intergenerational transmission of trauma in their families that's been passed from generation to generation to generation. And finally, they're like, no, I'm going to do the work and I'm not passing that down. And then I watch them raise their kids, and they're beautiful parents and they have beautiful kids, and there's none of that old garbage going down. And it's just like it just warms my heart so much, to like see like all of their hard work and what what they've brought into the world, and the magic of these young people, and thinking about all of their creativity and gifts. It's like so exciting,
Oh,
really
and you just light
thrilling.
up speaking it about it. So beautiful. I'm so excited to share this space with you in December, to have you at here for more live and at the Masterpiece Retreat and see what happens and manifest for you on the other side. For those that are listening, tell us more about your menopause workshop that is coming up. I believe the dates are October 28th and 29th. But go
Yeah.
ahead, give us a rundown, tell us what it is, tell us who it's for, and I will link that into the show notes for anyone that wants to join. But like, tell me, what is it?
Oh, it's going to be incredibly awesome because it's going to be an opportunity for women to come together for 2 days, and we're going to have a Joe Davis and I, who are soul sisters and fellow creatives and close friends, and we'll be chatting together about all things menopause and answering all kinds of questions and getting into all kinds of important discussions, and diving deep, really doing a deep dive, so that finally the information that women have really needed is finally out there. And they've already put, people can download a chapter from my menopause book for free right now if they're interested in, taking a look and, seeing if that's helpful. And, I think it's going to be awesome, really amazing.
Share with me the links for the book so anyone listening, you can download that free chapter that you spoke of. Where is this woman at in her menopause journey, and what type of questions will she get answered, and where will she be after this workshop?
She is right in the middle of her menopause journey. So it's like, I think it's really good in the sense of she's right in the middle of it and I'm past it. So you get two women at two different points in time. And she's an artist, and she is intuitive, and she's an international best-selling author as well, and she runs retreats in Mexico for women that are looking to learn about radical freedom. So she's awesome.
I really love that you have a woman who's in the midst of menopause going to be there hosting this workshop, and someone on the other side. Because for me, what I feel like is it's going to answer the questions of like what I'm experiencing now in the moment and how I got to the other side. So it's like you get to ride the wave of this journey from where you are till the end, because that's what it is. It's in a journey. And the emotions that you spoke of before, it's like it's an emotional roller coaster. It's a wave of emotions and different signs and symptoms and feelings that this workshop can help to normalize what one is going through, but also to do it with other people who are going through it. Because I think that this is a huge piece of like my why for Here for More Live. It's like
Mhm.
we're all here devoted to our becoming, to being a student, to being the best leader, to healing limiting beliefs and old stories and ancestral trauma. But also, like, growing a business is really easy in the strategy piece, but in the emotional human piece, it's hard. Like, on paper, menopause looks easy. But like in the woman's body, what we think and what we feel and the external things that happen to our bodies because of this transition, that's not easy. And that's why coming together for Here for More Live, if you want to grow your business, if you want to grow your impact, but also coming to this amazing workshop with Rachel. If you are in premenopause, menopause, and you want to be supported in a community of other women who are at that point in their journey, because together everything gets to be easier and we don't have to do this alone. We don't have to go through motherhood alone. We don't have to go through marriage troubles alone. We don't have to go through growing our business alone. We don't have to go through menopause alone. Like, healing sisterhood is so important, that we find people that we can trust, that we can relate to, and we can heal and grow with. And so I will put into the show notes Rachel's amazing workshop, the link for Here for More Live. If you have any questions, you can DM me, Amber Hagberg, on Instagram, and I'll also put Dr. Rachel Walsh's Bush's Instagram in. Pregnancy brain is happening here. But I'm just so grateful that, you know, you came onto this podcast, that you're coming to Here for More Live, and even more grateful, as I mentioned when we hit record on this podcast, that this conversation is becoming welcomed, and not just becoming welcomed, it's becoming sought after, because we need to normalize what happens in the human body, whether it's starting your period, going into postpartum and all the emotions that you feel there, or going into menopause. Like, to have people in this and through this journey, because it's a wave of emotions and we need our sisters to get through and on to the other side. So such an honor to have this conversation with you, Rachel, and I'm so excited to see you in December.
I can't wait. Thank you so much for having me here. It really has been, it's just meant the world to me to have a chance to talk with you.
Such
You're
a
an
gift.
incredible person.
Yeah, and I'm going to put all of Rachel's information so you can go and follow, find her, grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 9 books. And I will talk to you on the next episode. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Amber. I
Bye.
love you.
I love you.